Yeah, good evening. Very good evening to all of you. This is 7 o'clock, and we will begin with our live attempt of the countdown cat 12. Just that was just concluded over the last weekend, over the last couple of days. With me today, I have Navin sir over here. Good evening, Navin sir.
Good
Uh,
evening, Ravi.
some of you, most of you who are our students and are associated with us in some kind of classroom program or test series or workshops may have seen Naveen sir before solving your problems of DILR, Quant, or even if you would have registered for an individual doubt session, you would have spent some time with Naveen sir and you would have all appreciated the magic that he can pull off in DILR and in Quant. But with more than 15 years of experience in this field of teaching, never discount his ability of making the best even of the VARC section. And today, that is why we have Naveen sir over here to take an attempt at the mock. Given that if it is a 2-hour paper, if it is 40 minutes that he gets for VARC, 40 minutes that Naveen sir will get for DILR, and 40 minutes that he'll get for Quant, his attempt is not toward, will probably not be towards, getting you the correct answers, right? Getting the correct answers. But what will his attempt be towards? He will try to take you through his thought process. He will speak his mind out, and that is basically this entire live attempt is an attempt towards answering the question, what should our strategy be when we are actually taking a paper. So if I am particularly not good at BRC, what do I do? If I am particularly good at DILR, what do I do? How do I actually make the most of those 40 minutes that are on our hands? And that is what Naveen sir is going to take you through in this particular session. Naveen sir, the stage is open to you.
Thank you, Ravi. So, good evening, everyone. So, what we are going to do is we're going to attempt the CDC 12 live. And right now, we will be doing it through a PowerPoint presentation where I'm going to time my every section. Okay, so I have a timer with me. I'm going to time it 40 minutes. My target would be, to attempt around what my accuracy is generally in each of the three sections. So what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? So I'm not very good with RCs because my background as an educational background, I'm an engineer. So, RCs that are based on facts or some excerpts from particular novel or a storybook, I'm comfortable with those. Sets related to philosophy, I'm not very much sure about those. So my target in RC would be to search for those sets which are more fact-based or, something that has been taken from an article, not philosophical based majorly. I'm kind of good with VA, especially parajumbles or inference-based because, I used to write few articles in story while I was in school and college. So that generally, takes me through. In Lrdi, as we have always been saying, how we attempt Lrdi, we are going to select the sets initially very quickly, and then we are going to work on those. How do we select a particular Lrdi set? So I'll be looking at the questions, not the major part. I'm not going to read through the entire thing. So my attempt is going to be a little different or maybe a lot different from others, what others may have taught you or the way they may have attempted it. So I'll first of all select the sets, and my target would be to select at least 3 sets, and then I'll solve them. And if I get time later on, I may venture into the 4th set and see if I can solve 1 or 2 questions. So that would be my target for Lrdi. For Quant, my target would be to go through 2 rounds so that I'm not going to repent on the scenario that, I missed some questions in the end. So how I'm going to do 2 rounds will be, I'll quickly glance through the questions, each of the questions, and then in that, if any question is a sitter as in if I don't have to use pen, or even if I have to use pen, very, very minute, very slight, as in just the multiplication or addition that I have to do, I'll go through it. I'll do that. In the second round, I'll go back to the questions from the topics that I'm more comfortable with. Geometry, questions based on or triplets of Pythagorean triplets, or maybe, questions related to sides. That's what my target would be. In algebra, I'll put in values and I'll check If it's a sequence series question, I'll use pattern. If it's an arithmetic question, I'll use those percentages very wisely, the fractions used, right? So that's what my mindset is right now. Okay, so target individually would be around 14 to 15 questions in VARC. Why? Because my accuracy is generally not good in that. So my accuracy is around 75 to 80% in VARC. Generally, if I attempt 4 questions, at least one of them is wrong. Okay, not at least, around one of that is wrong. So going by that standard, if I attempt, let's say, 15 questions with a 75% accuracy, maybe 12 or 13 are going to be correct. So I'll be beyond 30, 35 marks for sure. In LRDI, if I attempt 12 questions, 3 sets properly, that will be, my accuracy in LRDI is kind of better among the 3 sections. So accuracy is generally 90%, 85 to 90%. So if I solve, let's say, 3 sets, so 12 questions, if I get around 10 to 11 correct, that will be good enough. I'll again cross 30 marks. In LRDI, in Quant, I should try to attempt, let's say, 15 to 16 questions. My accuracy is there as well, somewhere around 85 to 90%. So from 15, 16, if I'm able to do 12, 13 correct, so that will again help me cross, 30, 35 marks. So if I look at the overall, my overall score should be more than 100. That's what I'm expecting. And that's our target, okay? It's not about solving all the questions. It's about selecting questions very, very, nicely, using your experiences, okay? And then moving ahead. So I'm trying to think like an average student, whoever is right now preparing for CAT, okay? Somebody who is scoring 60 or 70 may be able to increase their score after going through the method that I'm going to use. So let's begin. I will hold on. Okay. 1 second. Hold on. Shreya, I would like to include PPT in the share because we're going to use PPT and not the browser. If you can have that option available. Okay, thank you. Fine. So this is the PPT, and here is the timer. I don't know if you guys can see. It's a 40-minute timer. So let's begin. So I'll straight away jump to VA first. So let's start. A passage, 5 questions. Next passage, 6 to 8, 3 questions. Next passage, 9 to 11, 3 questions. 12 to 16, 5 questions. Okay, straight away to VA. So the 4 sentences level 1 to 4 given in this question, when properly sequenced, will form a coherent paragraph. Decide on the proper order of the sentences and key in the sequence of 4 numbers as your answer. So parajumbles. We tend to think of gender expression by posing as females. The most widespread example in the bird world, snakes, lizards, to name a few, all exhibit this behavior. Okay, let's read through the statement because the first statement I was not able to figure out using the first words. So we tend to think of gender expression, especially gender non-conformity, as uniquely human, but many after species gain distinct answers by projecting an appearance that doesn't match their biological sex. By posing as females, they avoid becoming targets. So because they say they, it cannot be a first statement. The most widespread example in the bird world may be a phenomenon called delayed plumage maturation, wherein many, okay, it doesn't look like a first statement. Snakes, lizards, brittle fish, and birds all exhibit transgender behaviors in which males imitate females to gain advantages, including reduced Okay, so it looks more like between 1 and 4. One of these two should be the first statement to begin with. It talks about gender expression, gender non-conformity, but many other species gain. And
Naveen sir, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think the PPT is stuck on the first slide and we can't see if you have shared it in for full screen mode.
okay, is that so?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Can you
Let-
unshare and reshare?
Sure,
Yeah.
I'll try that again.
I think slideshow would be better.
So straight away go to the slideshow and share that. Okay, can you see that now?
Just a second. The screen is not visible yet, but I'll give you a confirmation once it is. We can restart. Yeah, now we can see. The slides are
Okay,
also going. All good.
okay, thank you. So these things happen in the actual exam. So I've lost almost 2.5 minutes. It's fine. Where was I? Okay, question number 17. Yeah. So uh, while reading through it, I realized that by posing as females, they become they avoid becoming targets. So this is not the first statement. This is not first statement. So between first and fourth, I was looking into which is the first statement, using which I should start with. So it says when tend to think of gender expression, especially gender non-conformity, is uniquely human, but many other species gain distinct advantages by projecting an appearance that doesn't match their biological sex. Then you have got certain examples to name a few. All exhibit transgender behaviors in which males imitate females to gain advantages, including reduced competition, better access to territory, and improved mating opportunities. So between first and fourth, I believe the first should be and the first statement should be your first one, the starting statement. Okay. Let's look at the next statement, which will make sense. After first, I think the example that is given is snakes, lizards. That is done. We have talked about the birds and they behave transgender behaviors. Is it like by posing as females, they avoid being targets for aggression? Or the most widespread example in the bird world may be a phenomenon called delayed plumage maturation, wherein in many songbird species, young males keep female-like plumage for a few years and maturity to escape detection by older, more powerful males. So this one, so we're done with fourth. Between third and fourth, in the third one, it's talking about changing to female, and in the second one, it tells you by posing as females what happens. So third should come before second. So this should be my answer. Okay, the next one is we have four sentences, and when properly sequenced, form a coherent. So we have another parajumble, right? So the word benevolent would prompt calls from the hook. The compact Oxford English dictionary slightly improves on this slide. Slim characterization. The oldest strategy in systematic philosophy is to start with a clear definition. The Oxford English dictionary treats superhero generically. So it's talking about something to do with superhero. So, okay, let's see. The word benevolent would prompt calls from the hook. So we need to have this benevolent first of all. The compact Oxford English dictionary slightly moves with the benevolent. So we have this word already. So it's a subsequent one. Superhero is being talked about. So we need to have superheroes beforehand. So we have a superhero here. So I believe, so I'm going to read it. The oldest strategy in systematic philosophy is to start with a clear definition, but the recent philosophical attention to superheroes has not cured the usual definitional disarray for this domain. Okay, superheroes has come in. Next, the Oxford English Dictionary treats superhero generically, used to designate a person, animal, or thing which marks surpasses all others. Fine. Once that is done, uh, this characterization is further little improved with a benevolent fictional character with superhuman powers. Okay, so they have told us the definition of superhero. They have improved it a bit, and once the word benevolent has been added, then they have said that the word benevolent would prompt skulls from the hook. So they're giving you the examples, right? So for me, it's going to be 3, and then 4, and then this 2, and then this is 1. So this should be my answer. Talking about superheroes, defining it, improving it, giving an example. 19th. The passage given below is followed by 4 summaries. So we have to figure out the summary. Fine. Give customers a great experience and they will buy more, be more loyal, and share their experience with friends. Okay. That's what every company strives for, yet so many consumers seem disappointed. Call it an experience disconnect. Okay. Companies tout the latest technology or snappy design, but they haven't focused on or invested in the most meaningful aspects of customer experience. So we're talking about what should be done and what has not been done. What truly makes for a good experience? It's speed, convenience, consistency, friendliness, and human touch. That is creating real connections by making technology feel more human. Okay, so it's about creating real connections by making technology feel more human, that is human touch, and giving employees what they need to create better customer experiences. Okay, fine. Many consumers of technology companies seem disappointed because of experience disconnected, void of any meaningful customer experience. Are they talking about technology companies? No, they're talking about any generic companies, right? So this first one doesn't make sense. If an organization creates a truly meaningful consumer experience, then that organization can have a more loyal and engaged customer base. Truly meaningful consumer. Do we have the word truly anywhere? Yes. What truly makes for a good experience? Speed, convenience. Okay. Second, looks like it may be the answer. Not sure. Third, by making technology feel more human and by giving employees tools to create better customer experiences, companies can create a great customer experience. This looks just like this last statement that we talked about, creating real connections by making technology feel more human, right? Technology feel more human, and giving employees the technology to make it. So third also makes sense. I'll eliminate it later on. Speed, convenience, consistency, friendliness, and human touch are necessary components of creating a truly meaningful customer experience. Yes, it is. But then the fourth statement doesn't talk about, from where these conclusions have come, as in what was the problem, right? What was the issue? So fourth doesn't look so good. So between second and third, so second one is more like a generic thing. But since this is an inference, shouldn't it talk about both the things, as in what is the issue and then what are the solutions, right? It should complete the entire essence. The first one only talks about the issues that we have, right? Of course, it talks also about, how you can do it by creating a truly meaningful consumer experience. But how do we do it? That's not mentioned. But in the third one, it talks about what to be done and also talks about what it will eventually achieve, which says it can create a great customer experience. So between second and third, if I use pure common sense, third captures the essence much better than the second one. Okay, I should not waste time. I'll go with third. 20th. 5 sentences related topic are given. 4 of them can be put together and 1 is the odd one out. Okay, so odd one out. When the Delhi Sultanate expanded south to the Deccan Plateau, the literary language was influenced by the language spoken in the south, by Punjabi and Haryani, and by Sufi and court usage. Okay, it's about language. Urdu religious prose goes back several centuries, while secular writing flourished from the 19th century onwards. So I hope you guys are aware of the word prose, kahavat, sayings. Okay. Fine. The language started evolving from Farsi and Arabic. The language, it means it must be talking about certain language, right? Arabic contacts during the invasions of the Indian subcontinent by Persian and Turkic forces from the 11th century onwards. Okay, it's a description of something. The earliest linguistic influences in the development of Urdu probably began with the Muslim conquest of Sindh in 711. Urdu developed more decisively during the Delhi Sultanate and the Mughal Empire. So it's actually about the language Urdu. So the first statement, which makes sense, is the fourth one. It introduces. Then, uh, 11th century onwards and 1526 and 1206. So it's more like the third is the, after that, the language, right? It's a describing Urdu. So Urdu started evolving from there. So it's about Urdu when it was brought in and when it was evolved. Once that is done, um, see, if I ignore the first, then fifth should also be ignored because it's like they have talked about Delhi Sultanate and the first statement is about the example. So if I ignore the first, fifth also doesn't make sense. If I ignore fifth, first also doesn't make sense. As in after 711, you have 11th century. After 11th century, you have these dates. And once that date is done and this has been brought in between first and second, expanded south to the Deccan Plateau, the literary language influenced, right? Urdu religious prose goes back several centuries. It does talk about the language Urdu, but not actually as a whole. It talks specifically about prose. Sometimes we'll have to go with the guts. Generally, in verbal, it's guts, right? Because we are not the people who have written this paragraph. We are not the authors. Mm, I don't know. Sequence is like this is first, this is second, this is third, this is fourth, and maybe this is fifth. So either the first should be ruled out or the fifth, because then the connection will not be broken. If I remove any between second, third, and fourth, it will be broken. So between first and fifth, I prefer this getting. ये नहीं भी है तब भी चलेगा. So second will be my answer. Definitely ये गलत हो चुका है. Okay, another four sentences, and we have para examples. Okay, mathematics. Formulations of these insights can't be your first statement. In the work on search, many economists placed a much higher value. It may be your first statement. See, you don't have to read the entire sentence to know first, right? Both attitudes can't be your first. Today, the situation is somewhat reversed in that formal. So this is not first. First is not first, third is not first, second is first. So what is it about now? In the early work on search, many economists placed a much higher value on the verbal insights of common sense when they sought explanation on search perplex. Verbal insights of common sense. Third can't be there because it talks about both attitudes. We have only talked about first one. First can't be your next statement because it talks about these insights. So you have more than one. Let's go to fourth. Today, the situation is somewhat reversed in that formal analysis is applauded while common sense is depreciated. So we have formal analysis and we have common sense. So there are two things now. This is definitely your second. Once this is done, mathematical formulations of these insights were undervalued. ठीक है, एक बड़ा एक कम हुआ, undervalued है. Both attitudes diminish economics. The first does not. Okay, what if I read the third statement first? Both attitudes diminish economics. The first does not encapsulate insights in a formal model, and the second closes off economics from the imaginative intuitions of common sense. Once that is done, and then if I say these insights were undervalued, so why the third statement is more like a fact that it happens? It should be more like these were the two insights. They were undervalued. Reason? Because they diminish economics. Or they diminish economics, and then we say that they're still undervalued. No. It should be more like 3 and 4. Or 4 and 3. Depreciated. Okay, so third one is more like a cause, right? Not the cause, the reason why these were undervalued. So I should go with 3, 4. So second statement should come first, then fourth, definitely. Then these insights were undervalued. Reason, both attitudes. Sorry, 2, 4, 1, 3. Second, fourth, first, and third. Should not spend a lot of time in parajambas, right? We have RCs also to look after. Next one. The passage followed by summaries captures the position of the author. Okay, an important aspect of sports experience is emotion. The feelings that reflect athletes' self-evaluation or expectation of their performance, and their perception of others' evaluations and expectations. Okay, it's about emotion of athletes. Some of the feelings expressed are anticipatory prior to performing. Okay, pre-game butterflies in the stomach are as familiar to an athlete as stage fright is to an actor. Agreed. Other feelings occur during and after the performance. Okay, all these feelings are scripted by the subculture of the sport in question. Okay, these scripts or feeling rules guide athletes as they manage their emotions. They manage their emotions, prompting, for instance, an example, appropriate behavior during pre-game renditions of national anthems or during post-game victory celebrations. So they have given us the example why, before or after it happens. Subculture of the sport in question. Okay, norms for the display of emotions vary widely among sports. Agreed. Rugby players and boxers are permitted to express their feelings with ostentatious displays that are impermissible for golfers and sumo wrestlers. I've never seen golfers, talking anything that they want. Okay, so what is it about? It's about sports, how athletes behave before, after, depends on the game. It's about subculture. This is scripted, not in the thing that somebody tells them to do it. It happens automatically. Okay, so different types of sports have various subcultures that guide the players to display their feelings dictated by those subcultures, thereby creating diverse expressions. Yes, very much makes sense. While emotion is an important aspect of sports experiences, these need not necessarily become the true expression of athletes since they are guided. Bilkul nahi, of course, doesn't make sense. There's nothing of that sort is talked about. Emotions displayed by athletes in sports reflect their self-evaluation and the perception of others' expectations, which are scripted by the subculture of the sport in question. Is it about perception of others' expectation? Do we as the viewers or audience, do we expect that? Is it written anywhere? No, it's not. Emotion is an important aspect of the experience of sports, and these emotions are aligned to the subculture of the sports, which guide athletes as they manage their emotions. Great. So first and fourth, they both look very, very close. Different types of sports have various subcultures that guide the players to display their feelings dictated by those subcultures. Dictated. It doesn't talk about the understood part. And fourth, this is just a copy of this, isn't it? So first phrase is just a copy pasted here, and these emotions are aligned to the subculture of the sports, which is same as subculture of the sport, which guide athletes to manage their emotions. Is it about managing or is it about displaying their feelings? This is what we need to differentiate accordingly. Either first is the answer or fourth. Manage their emotions. Great. Fourth. 23rd. 5 jumbled up, 4 of them can be put together to form a paragraph, odd one out. All humans begin life as a single fertilized cell. that rapidly divides and develops as organs. ठीक है, maybe the first statement, opening statement. Some of the idea that dazzling diversity of life that we can see today, from aardvarks to zebrafish, evolved from a common single cell ancestor, as manifestly absurd. How could such a primitive ancestor be transformed into something as large and complex as a horse, humpback whale, or a human? Okay. So it's about cell, right? Single cell. The vast expanse of geological time and the inexhaustible logic of natural selection provides the answer, but a more flippant but no less vertical response is to note that we all seem to manage it, and in 9 months, no less. Okay, no idea right now. Precisely how living entities emerge from inorganic matter remains a continuous topic, but it is generally agreed that the first organisms were simply single prokaryotic cells. This looks more aligned to me. Okay, at approximately 9 months, we are fully formed. So let's try to form a paragraph which will make sense. Looks more like after first, I should read the fifth one, right? So first and fifth. They are definitely not the answers. Okay. So third talks about it provides the answer. So there has to be a question, right? Or if there is a question, there has to be an answer. So let's read it accordingly. Some find the idea that the dazzling diversity of life that we can see today, from this to this, evolved from a common single cell ancestor as manifestly absurd. How could such a primitive ancestor be transformed into something as large and complex as a horse? Or some examples. The vast expanse of geological time and the logic of natural selection provides the answer. Great. But a more flippant but no less vertical response is to note that we all seem to manage it, and in 9 months, no less. So it's about us humans. After this, if I read, all humans begin life as a single cell, so it relates, right? 9 months or uske baad, and approximately 9 months we are fully formed. What about fourth? What's the problem here? Precisely how living entities emerge from inorganic matter remains a continuous topic, but it is generally agreed that the first organisms were simple, single prokaryotic cells. So if I have to use this is going to be definitely the first statement, where we are, talking about, inorganic matter being brought in. After this should be second, this should be third, this should be fourth, and this should be fifth. So again, if it makes sense, either the first is not a part of the paragraph or the last one, because the others are related, right? So which one should we get rid of? I don't know. First one talks about the cells. The last one, if I don't even read it, TK, human beings within 9 months, and it is discussed 9 months. I don't know. I think I'll get rid of the fifth one, because it's more like, even if it's not mentioned, it's about, starting with a cell, moving over, getting into a bigger organism. Question, answer, then an example of humans, right? Fifth. 24th. So again, summary. Ad hominem abusive is the fallacy that an agent's belief has not been proved or is mistaken. So we have this particular phrase, and it's a fallacy that an agent's belief has not been proved. Agent's belief, what is that? It's a fallacy. It's a shortcoming. Problem hai. Agent means there is somebody who has not been proved or is mistaken, because that person is somehow deficient, evidenced by some undesirable aspects of that person's character. Okay, more like stereotyping things when they are actually not stereotyped, right? Personality, morality, or competence. Okay, fine. So consider this example. After a 35-year career in agriculture, which took me to all corners of the world in segments ranging from animal productivity to plant protection, genetics, and biotech, I ... Okay, so it's within double inverted, so it's quoting someone, right? Reviewed Prince Charles's speech. I found foolishness and condensation. Obviously, it happens to best of us. Even though we have no experience about, we don't even play that good cricket, but Kohli should be out of the game. Okay, so rather than commenting on the content of Prince Charles's speech, the author attempts to discredit Prince Charles by stating his writing exhibits foolishness and arrogant condescension. Okay, so the one thing and the example that I'm thinking about is the same thing. Okay, so first option says ad hominem abusive occurs when somebody verbally attacks the person making an argument rather than criticizing the validity of their claim. Makes complete sense. Ad hominem fallacy is that no, ad hominem abusive fallacy. Third and fourth both have the same thing. Pardon me. Fourth, ad hominem abusive is the fallacy. Perfect. Copy paste. Wherein an author attempts to discredit a speech by stating the speaker exhibits foolishness and condensation. Is it like this has to do only with the speech? When somebody speaks, then only you're going to do it? Or is it more like when it's not a speech, when somebody is saying something, right? Then also it should happen. Why is it only speech? Because in the first one, it's just verbally attacks. As of course, he has done that. I doubt that this particular phrase has to do with speech, right? Because in the definition, they never mention about it has to do with speech. It's about aspects of person's character, personality, or morality or competence. So fourth is not about speech. First, so I'll go with first. 24th. Okay, so we're done. Move to Archie. How much time left? Sorry. Oh, only 12 minutes. Okay, first one is this theme in Lrdi that bringing newness into the world and securing the right of freedom to expression both regard challenging traditional assumptions. I'm not good with that. It's about theorizing a concept. Let's figure out a fact best. Why on earth, where evolution's rules, should abstract truth be so important to us? Great, science. Okay, let's do that. With the majority of predator actions, many animals have literally escaped the jaws of death. Okay, fine, fact. What happens when a teacher dies? I've had such teachers in his life. The ultimate dream, mortal image, philosophy, not my strength. Okay, so it's from 6 to 8, right? Let's quickly go to the question. As per the U passage, which of the following leads us to identify? Okay, why does the author give the example of the fish in the last paragraph? And what does the author imply when he states that we make most of our decisions irrationally? So 2 out of 3 questions are directly from the passage. For the first one, of course, it will take some time. Let's make the best use. Why does the author give the example of the fish in the last paragraph? So let's read the last paragraph. Some people would argue that what seem like features of the universe are just helpful cognitive tricks. Okay, features of the universe are just tricks that we have stumbled on and that we have been selected to truths. That's clearly how a lot of instincts work. Fish, for example, are easily scared by things moving above them without necessarily having any concept of birds or even people fishing. A footballer can kick or an opponent without it. Okay, so it's about football. But the kind of reasoning needed to reach logical or mathematical conclusions is different in kind from the implicit knowledge we draw on for most of our lives. What seems like a features of the universe are just helpful cognitively that we have stumbled on and we have been selected for those cognitive habits without reference to the wider truths. So fish doesn't know that there are people outside and birds, but it is just scared and that helps it, right? Sometimes. Okay. To show that most of the features of the universe are just helpful cognitive tricks. Yes, it makes sense. To differentiate between logical and mathematical reasoning. Do we have mathematical reasoning mentioned anywhere? Yes, mathematical conclusions, logical. Okay, this is also there. To talk about the role of instincts in the reasoning processes. Wow, this is very close. Okay, to show that instincts need the awareness of wider objective truths. Everything makes sense because, of course, I have not read the entire paragraph. So, पढ़ ही लेते हैं. Why on earth, where the evolution rules, should abstract truth be so important to us? Why should it be even comprehensible? Why not would it be to advantage of a creature to care about the truth in abstract? So this is actually not fact-based, or to have a grasp of logic or mathematics. All these capabilities had clearly evolved in us long before they were useful. Okay, yes, it has. In fact, in the case of mathematics and of logical reasoning, you can still find earlier and more primitive versions of very short distance under the rational surface of our minds. We make most of our decisions irrationally. We do, as we do most of our thinking based on biased short heuristics, something which is very surprising in the light of some contemporary myths about rationality. What's really surprising is that we understand that there are other ways to think, and that these other ways, let's group them for a moment under logical reasoning, seem so far as we can tell to be timeless and objective truths. The laws of logic are there and work to lead us to correct conclusions, whether we like them or not. They were all discovered rather than invented. Yes, they were. They are features of the universe, not social conventions like money. Yes. This also goes for the facts that scientific theories explain the world could be mathematically described long before human beings existed, and longer still before Galileo, Kepler, and Newton. And some people would argue, so there's someone against it, that what seem like features of the universe are just helpful cognitive tricks that we have stumbled on. And this same statement, same paragraph. Okay, we can try sixth as well. As per the passage, which are the following leads us to identify correct conclusions. Objective truths, we generally do not know that. Laws of logic, scientific theories. Our dislike for logical reasoning. Do we dislike logical reasoning? For the sixth, identify correct conclusions. We don't use scientific theories. Objective truths is far from what we use, right? Logical reasoning. It's more about laws of logic and objective truths. I don't know. It feels more like laws of logic, not exactly logical reasoning, because it was later on talked about mathematical conclusions and mathematical reasoning here as well. We'll go with laws of logic. I'm not sure about that. Why does the author give the example of fish in the last paragraph? To show that most of the features of the universe are just helpful cognitive tricks. Yes, first one makes sense. Differentiate between logical and mathematical. Fish doesn't do that. To talk about the role of instincts in reasoning process. Yes. To show that our instincts, ye to bilkul nahi, because fish never talks about the awareness of other things, doesn't know there is a bird outside. To show that most of the features of the universe are just helpful cognitive tricks. It's given. The universe are just helpful cognitive tricks. It's about instincts work. We have the word instinctive here. So that most of the features of the universe are just helpful cognitive tricks. Taking a lot of time. We are talking about instincts. I can only see instincts here. I don't see an instinct. but I do see the entire statement as the first one, which some people would argue, and you have confused. I'll mark, move ahead. What does the author imply when he states that we make most of our decisions irrationally? So we have already seen that, right? Um, she wants to lament the lack of any objective, logical reasoning in our daily decision making process. Yes. Wants to highlight the fact that we inherently don't need abstract truths. Yes, kind of yes, yes. Wants to showcase our unawareness of logical reasoning while taking decisions. Yes. Wants to show how we voluntarily choose a limited set of knowledge while making decisions. This was also kind of discussed, but irrationally. Irrationally means something that has got no base, right? As we do most of our thinking based on bias, shortcuts, just is something which is only surprising in the light of our light of some contemporary myths about rationality. We lack that. It's not about needing abstract truths. Just because we don't use logical reasoning doesn't mean it's irrational. Both are talking about logical reasoning, it's talking about objective logical reasoning. Objective, conditional. Only 2.5 minutes left. She wants to show how we voluntarily choose a limited set of knowledge while making decisions. No. Short circuit, something which for daily decision making, right? As we do most of our thinking based on this, wants to showcase our unawareness of logical reasoning while making decisions. That's not mentioned here. Logical reasoning is not even here, right? Go with first. Which was the next one? 9 to 11. With the majority, okay, I may not be able to read the entire thing. Which of the following best explains the phrase starvation predation trade off? Starvation predation. Starvation predation. Here we have. With the majority of predator attacks unsuccessful, many animals have literally escaped the jaws of death. Near death experiences have prey an opportunity to sharpen their survival skills for next time. Maybe. That includes staying vigilant, which creates a starvation predation trade off. Starvation, not eating. Predation to being hunt, to get hunt. Right?
Navin sir, there's a small disturbance in your voice. It's not coming through properly. I think it is an issue with your headpiece, mouthpiece.
Is it fine now?
It is still continuing a little bit. That
Okay, how about now?
even now there is some noise coming in, as in that is electronic noise. Only when you are speaking is it audible to us.
Okay, so must be an issue with the mic then. Okay, I'll change it right after this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll change the mic. I thought there was phone here. Okay, so starvation prediction. Okay, timer is up. Unfortunately, I missed that. Fine. So I'll take a pause here. I'll change the headphones, guys. Give me a moment. You're speaking, I can't hear you. Okay, so no, I can't hear you. Hold on. I'll change the. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, but I think that slight disturbance, there is some kind of a robotic voice kind of stuff that is happening.
Okay, just hold on. I'll switch the microphone while you're speaking.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
It's I can hear you. I can hear. It's just the same problem. I think. Can you get rid of the microphone completely?
What about this?
This is fine. This is now better now.
Okay, so I've changed the driver setting then.
Okay. Yeah. Now it's fine.
Okay, so we will begin with LRDI now. Sorry for the disturbance there. Okay, so I know that I did not do well in verbal. So if I would be in your shoes, I would definitely panic because I actually was able to do one RC set that also that was very, very quick. And I was not sure about the answers. So let's not screw this up. Let's take it light. Maybe that was a tough, tough verbal section. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to select the easiest ones. Okay, let's concentrate. 25 to 28. Question. Definite options. Next question. Theta, but a definite one. Third, theta, but a definite one. Fourth starts with an F. So 3 out of 4 questions are definite. So this is kind of doable. Okay, sorry, I forgot to put in the alarm, the timer. Sorry. 1 second. Okay, so it has begun. Next one, question starts with if. I'll have cases. If cases, definitely lose. It means you may have a scenario with case, win and lose, leave it. If case, so at least 3 out of these 4 will have cases. So not going to do this. Next one, if starts with if. The difference, okay, 1. How many cars are uniquely determined? Okay, we can try this. In each section, this is done, and then which car? Okay, so it looks like 1 out of 4 is definitely going to start with if, the other 3, so kind of doable. So first and third sets. Next one, which of the following statement either are definitely true? So I'm not even reading the paragraph, if you guys can see. So I have cases. Okay, so it was a question from the same one. So, 2 out of 5 has to do with cases. Okay, next set, definite, 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 definite. So this must be the easiest one. Okay, next set. It's a DI set, right? Yeah. Definite, 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 and statements. So 3 out of 4. This is the second easiest that we have got so far. Okay, there are 5 questions, so of course it's easy. Okay, the next is QA. So my target will be to solve uh, this one, the easiest one, and maybe from first or third, I'll just go through them again. So let's begin. 8 books are kept in different shelves of a cupboard, not necessarily in the same order. The cupboard has 8 shelves, and only one book can be kept in each shelf. Each book has a different title, and the titles are Fine Balance, Bhagat Singh, Bhagavad Gita, Gitanjali, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Satya, Prakash, and the collected poems, but not necessarily in the same order. Bhai sahab. The bottommost shelf is numbered 1 and 2, and so on. Fine. So uh, let's start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why did I start with this? Because it's about rank. Whenever ranks are given, you put the rank first, not the names or any other attribute. And they are going to be name and name of the books and the letters they represent. So this is the table I'll be drawing now. Right? These are the only 3 attributes we have. Let's draw this as well because don't want to. Okay. In addition, it is also known that the collected poems in Bhagavad Gita are kept in shelves 3 and 4. So collected poems is in shelf 3. So this is collected poems. And Bhagavad Gita is in shelf 4. E titled Bhagat Singh is kept in shelf 2. So E titled Bhagat Singh is kept in shelf 2. The title of C is Gitanjali. So C should have Gitanjali. Okay, done with the first. Second, H is titled Satyat Prakash and is kept at an even numbered shelf. Even numbered means 6 and 8. These are the only 2 possibilities. 2 and 4 are taken. A is kept in an even numbered shelf below the shelf in which H is kept. So we have 2 even numbers, Satyarth and A, and we are left with only 2. So of course, even number shelf below H. So this should be H, and this should be Satyarth Prakash, and then A should be kept at the next even number. Anything else left? No, done with the second statement. Okay, next. There are 3 shelves between the shelves in which C and G are kept. So we have C, 3 shelves, G, or I can have G, 3 shelves, and a C. F is kept 2 shelves above G. If this is the scenario, this is where F is kept. If this is the scenario, this is where F is kept. Okay, let's try this. Let's pick up the longest one. Can I have F here? No, already taken. Can I have F here? Yes. F blank G blank 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 C. Very much possible. What about this? C blank F blank G, C blank F blank G. So we have could have cases, not going after this. Fourth statement, there are 2 shelves between the shelves in which Ramayana and Satyat Prakash book are kept. I know where Satyat Prakash book is kept. So there are 2 shelves between them. So this is Satya, so this should be Ramayana. D is kept immediately above the shelf in which F is kept. So this is where D should be, and this is where D should be. Now, if I try to put DF, I can't have this. Hey, 2 consecutive and then a lot of places. So this will not make sense. The only thing that makes sense is here, where CDF are consecutive. This will only make sense if I put CDF over here. G goes here. The only leftover letter is B. The moment, okay. Why did I put Ramayana there? C is Gitanjali, right? Made a mistake. We'll have to redraw this. So C, D, F, and G, they go away. And we will have the Satyat Prakash even numbered. A is kept in an even numbered below. So this is fine so far. There are 2 shelves between the shelves in which Ramayana and Satyat Prakash are kept. D is kept immediately above the shelf in which F is kept. So C clashes with Ramayana. Silly set, simple set, making mistakes. 3 and 4. E is titled Bhagat Singh, shelf 2. C is Gitanjali. H is titled and is kept in even number shelved. A is in even number shelf below the shelf in which H is kept, and H is even numbered. Fine. There are two shelves in which Ramayana and Satyat Prakash are kept. D is kept immediately above the shelf in which B is kept. So this can't be B. So this is something extra that I put. Immediately above. So we have to put D and B. So D and B. Okay. Let's reread the third. There are three shelves between the shelves in which C and G are kept. So C and G are kept. There are three shelves between them. Or we can have three shelves between them. F is kept two shelves above G. So two shelves above G, this is F. Two shelves above G, this is F. These are what unique letters, right? So I have to bring in D and B someplace. So if I start with C blank F blank G, I can put C here. Yes, C blank F blank G. Can I put C here? No. Can I put C here? C blank F blank G. But the moment I put C here, before Ramayana, I will have Gitanjali, but that's not possible. So the only leftover place is when this is C, this is F, this is blank, this is G. And D is kept immediately above the shelf in which B is kept. Am I reading something different? H is titled Satyat Prakash. Fine. Even number shelf. Fine. 6 and 8 bacha. A is kept in an even number shelf below the shelf in which H is kept. Perfect. Fourth statement, first part is fine. D is kept immediately above which this is kept. Okay, we'll have to try this one as well. This is not working. If I put F blank G blank 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 C, this will make sense, right? F A blank G blank 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 and C. Okay, fine. Oh, why was I not looking at that sequence? So this will make sense. D and B, they are directly here, make sense. C was Gitanjali, right? What else are we aware of? What are the two books that we are left with? Fine Balance has not been discussed, and Mahabharata has not been discussed. Do we see these two words in any of the statements? No, these two are not mentioned, and that means we have no idea about Fine Balance and Mahabharata. Anyways, it happens to the best of us. Which of the following books is kept in shelf 7? It's F. Thankfully, they have not asked us the name. How many shelves are there between the shelves in which B and H are kept? B and H, there are 3. Which of the following titles is kept in shelf 5? Ramayana. Thankfully, we have Ramayana. Which of the following combinations of book and title can be correct? F, Ramayana. F, pe, no, we can't have Ramayana. A, Mahabharata. A, pe, we can have Mahabharata, right? So this makes sense. Anyways, because I kind of did it in a hurry, I'll check third and fourth as well. B, Ramayana. B is definitely not Ramayana. D, collected poems. D is definitely not collected poems. I'm pretty sure all the 4 questions are correct. Okay, after this, I'll go after this DI. An exit poll survey was conducted before the Legislative Assembly elections in 3 states, Punjab, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh. 100 voters each were sampled from each of the 100 constituencies of Punjab. 150 constituencies of Rajasthan and 250 constituencies of Uttar Pradesh. A lot of people were actually surveyed, sampled. It was found that 50,000 voters surveyed 58%. 50,000 voters, how did it come from? So in Punjab, if I talk about 100 constituencies, 100 people, so this is a total of 10,000. 150 constituencies, 100 voters, so this should be 15,000. And 250 constituencies, Uttar Pradesh, 100 voters in each, so this is 25,000. 25. So yes, we have 50,000 people. It is found that 50,000 voters surveyed, 58% supported political party A. So how many people are going to support political party A if I talk about A? So half of 58, that is going to be 25, 29,000, 35%. So B, 35 ka half is 17,500. And remaining 7%. Remaining 7% means it's going to be 3,500. Does this add up to give you 50? It should, right? It will give you 50,000. The voters surveyed were further divided into men and women. The table below shows the number of women voters. Okay, so they have done the division. So this is women. Okay, what about men? If I want to figure out A, B, others. Same Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh. So total A is 11,500. We have 29,000. So we are left with remaining 17,500. Total B is 17,500, out of which I see 9,200. So it should be 987 and 8,300. Total is 3,500. You see 2,300 over here. So remaining men should be the 1,200. Anything else known? नहीं, और कुछ नहीं पता. Okay, in Punjab, 70% of the voters supporting other parties were women. 70% of the voters surveyed supporting the other parties were women. So this is 70%. Right? So if this is 70%, what should be 30%? So this should be 600. Right? Total there are 2,000 people, 70% out of other parties. 2,000, 70% is women, 30% is men. Okay, done with the first one. In Uttar Pradesh, let's go to the third column. 60% of the voters surveyed were supporting party A. So total Uttar Pradesh is 25,000. 60% of that is 15,000 people were supporting party A in Uttar Pradesh. Is that so? Out of that 15,000, if we have 3,009 here, so the remaining 11,100 should be men, because whoever is going to support, men, women, dono mein se koi ek hoga. Also in UP, all the men surveyed supported party A or B. In UP, the men is either A or B. That means this should be 0. Great. This is 1,200, so this should be 600. Okay, done with second. Third, the number of voters who supported party A in Punjab, party A in Punjab is 2,800 plus this, was same as the number of voters in Rajasthan who supported party A. They're not talking about gender, they're talking about total. So if I say this is already 2,000 more, so if I say this is X, this should be 2,000 plus X. Make sense? Right? So how much is X now? 13,100, 13,100, 4,400. So X is 2,200, right? So X is 2,200. So this one will become 2,200. This one will become 2000 more. So this is 4200. Okay. Um, in Punjab, we have a total of 10,000 people, out of which 4600 is here. So the total should be 5400, out of which we do see 4800. So remaining 600 will go here. In Rajasthan, total 15,000, out of which 6,900 are women. So remaining 8,100 should be men, out of which we see 2,800. So we should have 300. 20. Okay. We can add the column or I can add the row. So let's add the 5,300. This is 8,300. So 3,000 left, 600 either goes. So this would be 2,400. Okay. So we have got all the division. What percentage of voters of Uttar Pradesh were supporting party B? UP के total का party B को. So in party B, how many people were supporting party B from Uttar Pradesh? 7,200 plus 2,400. That is going to be 9,600 total people. Women this much, men this much. 9,600 out of 25,000. Sorry, not 9,600 divided by 25,000. So all I have to do is make it 4 times 9 into 4, 36, 6 into 4, 24, 38.4. The ratio of number of male voters supporting party B in UP. Let's check that. Male voters supporting party B in UP. Male voters supporting party B in UP. That is 2,400. And to the number of male voters supporting party A in Punjab. Let's check that. Male voters supporting party A Punjab. That is 4,200. So what is the ratio? They both will go 24, 42. They both are in the table of 6. 6 into 4, 7 into 4. How many male voters of Rajasthan were supporting other parties? How many male voters of Rajasthan were supporting other parties? Male voters of Rajasthan supporting other. Rajasthan is the second one, right? Male voters of Rajasthan supporting other. 600. Which of the following statements these are correct? If I look at the statements, I should first of all check 1. No, I should check 2 or 3 because eliminate ज़्यादा होंगे options. ठीक है. In Punjab, the number of male voters supporting party B. In Punjab, number of male voters supporting party B. So that is 600. Was 50% more than that of female voters. 600 is 50% more than that 400, right? For party B in Punjab. Yes, this is true. So if second is true, first can't be true. So either answer is second or fourth. I have to check now the third one. The difference between the number of male and female voters in UP. Male and female voters in UP. So this is 11,500 is the female. Total is 25,000. So remaining would be 23,500. Sorry, 13,500. See, silly mistakes. So this should be 13,500 total male. Of course, this is 13,500. So the difference between women and men is 2,000. Yes, this is also true. So fourth becomes your answer. Okay, how much time are we left with? 20 more minutes. Great. Looks like we'll be able to do 3 sets. Achha, there is one more question. What percentage of people surveyed were women in Uttar Pradesh? So entire UP, we have to figure out women. So entire UP is 25,000, out of which how much women do we have? 115. So we have 115 out of 25,000. So multiplied by 4 and 4, 11 ka double 4, 5 ka double 0.54, 44 plus 2, 46%. 46% is the answer. Right. It's first and the third. Right, first and the third. The sports teacher of Shishu Vihar School has arranged 25 students in 5 rows and 5 columns. The position of every student is indicated as AIJ, where ING are row and column numbers respectively. So it's a 5 by 5 matrix. All the students are given jerseys with numbers on them. Not all of them is necessarily distinct. Okay, we can repeat the numbers. The teacher arranged the students such that all the jersey numbers in every row and every column were in AP with non-zero common difference. So you can't, as in, it should be increasing, of course. Decreasing भी हो सकता है, who knows. हर row, हर column. Okay. Looks like may be difficult. Anyways, all the numbers from 1 to 25 were used as the jersey numbers. The student of A11 wore the jersey number 1. Okay, that's already given. In how many ways can the students be arranged? I have to use 1 to 25. There are 25 cells, all the numbers. Well, how about this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on, right? Standard. What about if I don't do it row wise? What if I do it column wise? It will not make any difference. It's a, it's a square matrix, right? Row column interchange karo, koi fark nahi padta. Can I have an AP with the common difference not being 1? What if I put, instead of 1, if I put a 3 here? After 1, if I put 3 here and then a 5 and a 7 and a 9, then 2 should come someplace. The moment I put 2 here, the problem would be we need a 3 again here. And if the jersey repeats, I won't be able to use all the 25 t-shirts or the numbers, right? So this won't work. You can't change the common difference. So either row wise or column wise, that's what we can have. There are only 2 ways to do that. Jersey numbers were 25 consecutive 2-digit even numbers. 2 digits. So we're talking about 10, 12, and so on. Maximum you can have is 98. Right. But there are a lot of even numbers. They're asking us to only pick 25 consecutive numbers. So very similar to the previous one, but I can't repeat it because we have to take all those 25 or in 25 jagah pe rakhna hai. The difference between the largest sum of jersey numbers along any diagonal and the smallest sum of jersey numbers along any diagonal is. Logically, it's the same thing that we did before, right? Instead of consecutive numbers, which was in AP, I still have to write even numbers, which is in AP. So what if I start with 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. So there's an increase of 10, of course, makes sense. 5, 5, 5 ka jump. Sorry, 2, 2, 2 ka jump 5 times will make an increase of this. 24, 26, 28, 30, 40, 50. Is that what I'll have? 32, 42, 52. 34, 44, 54. 36, 46, 56. 38, 48, 58. So the minimum I can do is this. Now, we have to check the primary diagonal. So if I start with the primary diagonal, so this is the primary diagonal we'll be working on. Should I take this as the diagonal or should I take the other one? It will not make any difference because if I increase this by 8, the other side you have to decrease by 8. At APs, right? Average concept. Very, very, very simple. So it doesn't really matter which one I'm going to take. Okay, what if the question was, what if I want to figure out the largest possible values because I have to figure out the difference between them, right? Largest and smallest ka sum. Largest will happen when instead of 58, I have the largest number, which is 98. So 58 ki jagah, if I'm going to have 98, that means instead of 56, I will have 96. Instead of 54, I'll have 94. 98, 96, 94. Can I say everything is increasing by 40, sorry, not 50. It says 40 silver. If everything is increasing by 40, that means this will also increase by 40. I need to start with 50, right? 50, 52. 50 से 98 कितने even numbers होते हैं? 50 से 99, those are 50 numbers. Half of them are even. So 50 to 98, of course. The first number will be 50. So 50, 52, and so on. So what will be the largest sum? Instead of adding, can I say if every value is going to increase by 40, there are 5 values in the diagonal, right? So 5, 40, 40, 40. So 5 into 40 should be the difference. 200. Details, of course, I'll have to type that. No two APs are identical in their sequence. Great. All the Jersey numbers are odd. So I'll have to take 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on up to anything. The largest Jersey number among the students cannot be less than. Largest number cannot be less than. Okay, so I have to figure out what is the maximum odd number that I can have. Okay. So it doesn't really matter if I check rows or columns, right? It's symmetrical. So let's take this as 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. They are APs and they are not identical in their sequence. If they're not identical in their sequence, that would mean जो AP के 5 terms हैं, same 5 terms should not be again seen. That means if I put a 3 here, 5 here, 7 here, 9 here, I'll have 2 APs. So I can't put a 5 here then. I can put a 3 here then. 3, 5, 7, 9. दो का jump इधर, 4 का jump, 5. If I start with 5 and if I write down consecutive odd numbers, it will generate a different AP for me. 5, 7, and I have a 5, 9. Coincidence? Let's see. Jump of 4, 9. After a jump of 4, if I write down consecutive numbers vertically, odd numbers, of course, 15, 17. If I start with 9, after 9, 11 comes in. After 9, I don't see 11. After 9, I don't see 11. पता नहीं magic हो रहा है या क्या, but it is working out just fine. 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, right? And 13. 15, 17, 19, and 20. 13, 15, 17, 19, 21. Okay, so let's check. Jump of 4, jump of 4. Oh, did I make a mistake? 5 to 9 is 4, 9 to, okay, so should be a jump of 4, right? 9 plus 4 should be 13, 13 plus 4 should be 17, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 13, 15, 17, 19, and 21. 4 ka jump, 4 jump, jump of 4, jump of 4, jump of 4, jump of 4. I start with 7. There is no 7 from the column wise. If I see a 9, 9, 11, 13, 9, 13, 17, different APs. I don't have row wise also 13, 17 to heavy. So that's unique. Is it 25? क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Negative marking तो होना नहीं है. Okay. If the Darcy number used in the diagonals were also in an AP. Let's check the previous case that we drew. Is this an AP? 10, 12, 34, 46, 58. It automatically becomes AP, diagonal also. Great. So with non-zero common difference, you can't repeat. Then what is the minimum possible distinct number of Jersey numbers required to fill the grid? Great. So non-zero common difference, minimum distinct possible number of jerseys, diagonal needs to be an AP, row and column also needs to be an AP. So I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. Compared to me, you guys are going to take more time because you guys are going to redraw the table, right? So there I'm a little faster. What if I write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Can I repeat the APs? Huh. Okay. So if I have 2, I'll write 3, 4, 5, 6. If I have 1, 3, do I have to use only odd numbers? Even? No. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's just a repetition. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 is the smallest value. Great. How much time left? 9 minutes. Third set. The parking space in a residential society is divided into 5 sections. 10 cars are parked in these sections with at least one car in each section. The monthly parking charges of each car varies from rupees 100 to 1000 in multiples of 100. 100 to 1000 we have 10 hundreds and there are 10 cars, so we have unique. ठीक है. Extra कुछ नहीं है, so every 100 का multiple will come. All these cars are allotted numbers from 1 to 10 on the basis of their parking charges. Okay. For highest parking charges, the car is allotted number 1. बढ़िया, ज़्यादा पैसे तो आगे जाओ. Second highest parking charge, car is now allotted number 2. Fine. No two cars allotted consecutive numbers are parked in the same section. So, shall we put in the charges or shall we put in the numbers? It doesn't really matter, right? Because if it is increasing, the other is decreasing. So, कोई भी ले लेते हैं. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, this is rank based, so this is what I should be writing down first. 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The parking charge would be 1000 for this, 900 for this, 800 for this, 700, 600. Sum of 5 and 6 is 11. Remember, we have done this in knockouts. 400, 8, 300, 200, and 100. Okay, now we need to figure out which car is where. Did we miss anything? No. Okay, car C, G, I, E, and A are allotted numbers this. Great. So C is allotted number 3. So this is where C is. G is allotted 5. So this is where G is. I is allotted number 7. So this is where I is. E is allotted number 10. So this is where E is. Great. 4 का तो हो गया. 2 cars among I, J, and F are parked in the same section. It means I, J, JF, or IF, or because not 3, any 2 we are going to select, and they should not be consecutive. For example, if I have I here, and if I and J are parked in the same section, I can't write J here and here. If I and F are in the same section, I can't write F here or here. अगर I है ही नहीं इसमें, J and F are parked in the same section, so they will go somewhere. I would have a lot of cases. Ignore it. Alternate numbers, that we will remember. Cars B and D are parked in the same section. That means B and D, they should not be consecutive. So they cannot take these 2. They can't take these 2. B can be here, D can be here, B here, D here. बहुत cases. The monthly parking charges of car J is more than that of car A. That means J is ahead of A and A is ahead of F. This is for sure known to us, right? We're saying this is ahead. So JAF, 3 places will be taken. Where will they go? No idea. Anyways, J and F are going to be far away. But aren't parked in the same section? No idea. One more attribute, sections also we have to put. Thankfully, we have not come across section numbers. No. Can't do anything about third except this. अच्छा नहीं कर लिया ना. If A is allotted an even number, if A is allotted an even number, so if A gets 9 or A gets 4, if A gets 6, if A gets 8, then H must be allotted an odd number. भाड़ में जाइए set. It's going to have so many cases right now. That's the reason I believe the questions were based on if. Nahi, only one question is enough. If car J is allotted number 2, so J goes here, then which of the following cannot be the yearly parking charges? Yearly, monthly. Okay, so I have to multiply it by 12 of car A. So car A can go to 4, right? So 12 into 7, 84. Maybe car A can go to 6. So 12 into 5, 6,000. Maybe, this cannot. Car can go to this number 8. A goes to even number, right? So 36, maybe. If I look into this, so it's going to be 12 into 900 is 10,800. For that, car A should be paying 900, but car A cannot go to even number. Okay, so the question is easier. The difference between the monthly parking charges of cars B and D cannot be. B and D. Again, unfortunately, you guys will have to redraw it. B and D. Let's use the options because I have not completed anything. So, let's say, can it be 200? 200 means alternate, right? If they're parked in the same section, they are alternate. Can we have 200? Maybe. 300. 300 would mean a gap of one parking space, as in jump of two, right? No, jump of difference of two parking spaces, right? 100, 100, 100, 300 ka difference. We can place it anywhere because we have to also look into IJF, JF. Let's try the maximum, 600. If I want 600, so we have B and D here. There should be a difference of 100, another 100, another 100, another 100, another 100. This is 500 so far, 600. So there should be 5 parking spaces between B and D so that they make a difference of 600, right? Let's see. If B goes to 1, D can't go to I. If B goes to 2, D can go to this. It can be 600, right? B can't go to 800. B can't, 700 will not make sense. So it's possible BD or DB, who knows? How many cars are uniquely determined their allotting parking numbers? I am going to be wrong here because I have not figured out the other. बाकी cases ही तो होंगे. 4? I'm only sure about 4 as of now. This is more like a tukka. I'm assuming that from the other cases, I'm not going to get a definite scenario. Otherwise, why would they give me if car G is allotted number 2? In each section, equal number of cars are parked and the monthly charges. So I should be knowing all the cases. Not going to do this. Sum of numbers allotted to cars B and D is an even number. The number allotted to car F is 9. Maybe. If F is 9, then J can't be at 8. So J has to be a 6. That means A has to be at 8, which is very much possible. You can have B and D alternate, and H is an odd number. It can be first. So it's very much possible. I'm not sure about second. Cars E and F are parked. No idea. So I'm going to leave this set. Possible to do one, no? So let's move to the next one. How much time left? Time is almost over. It says 4 seconds. So time is up. So this Lrdi was kind of little above easy. As in it was not above moderate for sure. 3 sets was doable. Let's start with the stopwatch again. Okay, so time starts. Okay, here we go. So, can I solve this question without using pen? not writing down a lot of stuff. There are 6 kinds of candle in large amount and a sufficient number of identical boxes to store them. So it's candies, sorry. She can put at least 10, at most 15 candies in any box. And she put only one kind of candy in a box. Further, not more than 5 boxes. Abhi dimag nahi chal raha. Let's start with the easiest one. Pens, TSD. No, going to ignore this. Difference between the roots of the equation, same as variables involved, p plus q. P is not equal to q. Great. Ignoring it. Options say it might be difficult. Ignoring it. Little lengthy. A lot of things to do, right? I'm so much worked up after LRDI, especially the last set. If this happens, then the number of pairs of integers satisfy the equation. Okay, this looks easy. Simple, short, precise, concise as in. Okay, if I want 24 and these are integers, so this should be an integer, this should be an integer. For integer, it's going to be at least 6. So I can write this as 4 into 6. For 6, y is going to be 0. And for 4, x is going to be, so I should write x and y like this so that I can keep the count easier. So this is 0. So x can be plus minus 8. 8 minus 4 is 4. What if I write 0 over there? It will become minus 4, so I can't take 0. Okay. After 6, the other way to write 24 would be 8 into 3. For this 8, I need plus minus 2 here. And for this 3, I need a 7. So plus minus 7. Okay. After 8, I can write this as 12 into 2. For 12, I need plus minus 6. And 2 ke liye, I'll get some plus minus something. Next is 24 into 1. For 24, I will need plus minus 18. And for 1, I will need plus minus 5. Okay, so I have 1 into 2 cases here. 2 into 2, 4. 2 into 2, 4. 2 into 2, 4. So a total of 14 cases. If the vertices of a triangle are 0, 8, 6, 0, 3, 9, and the area of the circle passing through these 3 points is n pi, find the value of n. Coordinate. Why have they given us these 3 points? They don't look equilateral. So either it's going to be isosceles or right angle, otherwise, kyun denge? Okay, so we have 0, 8 and we have 6, 0. Kash 0, 0 hota. And then we're going to have 3, 9. So something like 3, 9 over here. So this is the triangle we are talking about. Maybe it's a right angle triangle. So let's calculate the sides. Distance formula 0, 8, 8, 64, 36. So this is 100 under root. Let's not take under root. Square le lete hain. So 3 square plus 9 square. 81 plus 9. So this is 90. Right. And this is 3 square plus 1 square. 10. Huh? Perfect. It is a right angle triangle. It's a right angle here. Area of the circle passing through these 3 points. So I have to calculate capital R, right? Capital R is going to be h upon 2, which is under root 100 by 2. So area of the circle is going to be pi r square, which is 100 by 4, which is 25 pi. And n is 25. X square minus 3x plus 2 less than equal. What is the maximum value of this? Okay. This can be factorized, so that's why I'm going after this. The other is y minus 1 into y minus 3. It can also be factorized. So I want less than equal to 0, so x should belong from 1 and 2. Y should belong from 1 to 3. Maximum value of this fraction. Y plus 5x by y plus 2x. So my standard way is whenever I get two variables both in numerator and denominator, what I do is I break it down so that I get something, some integer, and then it's easier for me. So I want this to be maximized, this to be maximized. So on the answer should be more than one. Sare one se bade. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide throughout by x because x is more. So 3 by y by x plus 2. I want this to be maximum. This to be maximum, that means the denominator should be least. If this denominator is least, when y by x is least, y by x will be least when x is maximum and y is minimum. X maximum is 2, y minimum is 1. Okay, so this will become 1 plus 3 divided by 1 by 2 plus 2, which is 5 by 2. So 1 plus 3 by 5 by 2. So we'll have a 5 here, we'll have this here. So this will become 11 by 5. Okay. Symmetry. बाद में. Out of 4 integers, first 3 terms are in AP and last 3 terms are in GP. Okay, 1, 2, 3, AP, 1, 2, 3, GP. The difference between the first and the last term is 60. So difference between this and this is 60. So if this is x plus 60. Okay. If the common difference of the AP is positive, it means this is increasing, right? If this is increasing, then the common ratio of a GP. So, okay. It should also be increasing, right? 1 by 2 will decrease the values. Even isi ka chota ho jayega, it won't be increasing. So 1 by 2 is a common ratio less than 1. So 1 by 2, common sense. Okay, AB plus 4 is equal to CD, where B, D, A, B, C, D are all prime numbers. AB is a prime number, 2-digit prime number. CD is a 2-digit prime number. So we need a prime number which is 4 more than the other prime number. Okay. And A and C, they are equal to 1. Oh, so I have to figure out prime numbers from 10 to 19 where this works. So 11 plus 4, 15. 13 plus 4, 17. Perfect. 17 plus 4 cross kar jayega. So this is 13 and this is 17. A is 1. B is 3. D is 7. Everything makes sense. So what is AB? 13 plus 31. CD plus DC. CD kitna tha? 17 plus 71. So this is 44 by 88. 1 by 2. Okay. Shall I do this? Log theta. बाद में. Percentage, not in a mood to do right now. Percentages, little huge. TSD. So there was one more question on TSD later on. Water flows 10 meters per minute. It has to do with flow rate. Later on, cylindrical pipe, perfect. Conical tank. So volume. So बाद में. Percentage, बाद में. Percentage and is it CI? Simple interest. Oh, great. It must be easy. Algebra. Okay. So the number of real value solutions of the equation. So I'll get rid of this 3 and 3. So I'll have x square minus 4x plus 3 is equal to x minus 3, or x square minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. So x is going to be 2 or 3. Since it's a log question, I have to put it back 2 and 3 and check if it makes sense. If I put x as 2 here, the problem is this is going to be negative. And 3 ka power up kuch bhi de do. Will it ever be negative? No. Even if the power is negative. So 2 will not make sense. If I put 3 here, This one will become 0. 3 to the power, आज तक दुनिया का कोई value 0 हुआ है क्या? You can have 1, you cannot have 0. So neither of these two will eventually make sense. The standard thing, when you solve a question on log, you should always put it back and verify. Okay, question on averages with a CBD. Huge. Figure is not given, I'll draw it. Functions, and looks like there should be a pattern because that's what you have. And this is the last one. Okay. F of 2 into 1 will be 1 into f of 1. Okay, I have to reach 2 to the power 50, matlab 2 got higher powers. As in, if I take 2 into 2, so this will be, instead of n, I have put a 2, so it should be 2 times f of 2, and f of 2 we just saw was 2 into 1 into f of 1, which is actually 1. So this is 1. I need to increase 2's. So what is 2 into 4? I just saw that 4 into f of 4 is what? 2 into 1, which is same. F of 2 into 8. So that 8 will come outside, right? 8 into the previous one. If I've written 8 here, it should be f of 8. F of 8 just calculated. Okay, so there is a pattern. The pattern is, if you have a 16 here, you have to multiply all the powers of 2 up to previous. So if I have 2 to the power 4 here, I need to have up to 2 cube here. Not just 2 cube, but product of all the values up to 2 cube. Okay, so if I generalize this, and if I want 50, so it should result in up to 49. So it's nothing but sum of all the natural numbers up to 49, which is going to be 49 into 50 by 2, which is 49 into 25. 50 to 25 is going to be 1250. I need 25 less. So fourth, right? So 1225. Okay, let's go back to the questions. I'll prefer percentages, arithmetic, and arithmetic as in TST as well, time and work. Okay. Okay, so Mira has 6 kinds of candies in large quantities. So C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, and C6. That means she has enough number of candies. She has to put in identical boxes to store them. She can put at least 10. So she can put 10, 11, and up to 15 candies in any box, and only one type of candy in a box. And not more than 5 boxes can contain same number of candies. Maximum number of candies that she can put in the boxes. So there is a limitation. We can't put more than 5 boxes. As in 5 boxes में same number of candies नहीं होगा. Okay, let's pick C1. C1 candy put करने का है. So she is going to put 10, 10, 10. कितने boxes में? 5 boxes में. So this is 5. Then she will put 5, 11, 11, 11 in 5 boxes. She will put 12, 12, 12 in 5 boxes. And eventually 15, 15, 15 in 5 boxes. So this many candies she has put of C1. What about C2? Do we need to have different type, different number of candies? No. So C2 will have the same thing. Throughout it will have the same thing. So how many do we have here? So there are 6 candies. Each has 5 boxes, and each box contains 10 or 11 and so on up to 15. Unfortunately, I don't have options. So 30. Well, how many numbers do we have here? 6. An average of 10 and 15 is this. So this is going to be 3. 30 into 25. Calculation mistake to नहीं हुआ. नहीं. So 25 into 3, 75, and 75 into 3 is 225. Is she going to put something extra there? No. Okay, 2 trains start from 2 stations A and B. towards B and A. The trains reached B and A in 9 hours and 16 hours respectively after crossing each other. Oh, okay. So this train took 9 hours after crossing, and this train took 16 hours after crossing. Okay. When train from A reached B, the other train was, so when this train reached here, the other train was still 210 kilometers away from its destination. The distance from A to B is, so I know a shortcut. Meeting time is geometric mean of these two times, but I'm not going to use it. Average student. So I'm going to use common sense. When it traveled for 9 hours, it must have also traveled for 9 hours after meeting. But it takes 16 hours. That means in the next 7 hours, this train covered 210 kilometers. That is 30 times of it. So my answer should be 30 times. This is not 30 times. This is not 30 times. So third and fourth. Now, if it covers 210 kilometers in those 7 hours, so those in 16 hours, how much distance it should have covered? 16 into 30, right? 480 is only this much. If this is 480, do we think it should be only 570 throughout, as in remaining 90 ही हो गए इधर को? नहीं, because if this is 90 and this train takes 9 hours, so it covers only 10 kilometers and this covers 30. ऐसे कब से? That is the faster one, no? Because it reaches its destination faster. So of course 570 will not make sense. 840 makes sense. It should be huge. The other component as well. Okay. If the difference between the roots of the equation is the same as the difference between the roots of the equation, I know sum, I know product, I'll have to calculate difference. Oh, can I do a hit and trial? Because for difference, I'll have to do all that square and minus. So can I think of a number so that when they replace, the difference between the two roots is same as the difference between the two roots? I doubt it will strike. Next one. A, B, and C can complete a job in 12 days. All the three works for 3 days, and then A left. B and C worked together for 8 more days, and then B left. C worked for another 24 days and completed the job. In how many days A alone can complete the job if C alone can complete it in 48 days? So this is a lengthy one, and I solve such questions using attendance. So what I mean is, on each of the 12 days, A was present each day. So A is 12 times, B was 12 times, and C was 12 times. So the number of attendance will be total work. This is the work we have. Now, the same thing is if C will work for 48 days, as in C should happen 4 times. So I should be writing these C's 4 times. So 4 rows is what I meant. So 12 into 4 is 48. And the same work was when A worked for 3 days, B worked for 3 days, C worked for 3 days, then A left. B and C worked for 8 more days. So B worked for 8 more days. So that is a total of 12 agar lenge. So there is one left. B is 11. C worked for how many days overall? 3 days initially, 8 days with B, that is 11, and 24 another. So that is 35. So how much will 35 be? 12, 24, and then 11 still left. So the markings that we see, they are same. So we have to figure out A alone can complete the job, which means if B and C don't come, then how will they work? As A alone will do it in how many days? So actually, if I compare these two, so what I see is 3 times A plus 11 times B will be equal to, the two columns are same. Third column में एक कम है, so 12 plus 1, that is 13C. Okay, I need to figure out relation between A and C. That means I need to get rid of B. So what I do in such cases, I will write 11 times A plus B. So 11A, 11B, chalo, perfect. But I only have 3A, so I'll have to subtract 8A, and that is 13C. Uh, how much is A plus B actually? So if I now going to compare these two, this C column is same as A last column. So can I say single AB means 3 C's? If A doesn't come, B doesn't come, 3 C's. So 11 times A and B, for each AB, I have 3 C ka group. So this is 3C. If I rearrange, I'll have 33C minus 13C is equal to 8A. Or I will have 20C is equal to 8A. 4C divide 5C is equal to 2A. That means if 5 times I write C, A will be written 2 times. If I write 48 times C, so how many times shall I be writing A? So it should be equal to 48 times 2 by 5. 96 by 5. 96 by 5 means double of 96. 19.2 second. Lengthy. Excuse me. In a class of 94 students, the number of students attending question 1, question 2, and question 3 in the test was the same. 20 students were attending both question 1 and 2. So, set theory. And there are only 3 types of questions. Okay, great. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Question number 1, 2, and 3. 94 students attending question 1, 2, and 3 in a test was the same. So this was X, and this was X. 20 students were attempted both question 1 and 2. So 1 and 2, this is 20. I need the center one. 24 is 2, 3, 22 is 1, 3, 16. Okay, fine. This is 16. So 20 attempted both 1 and 2. So this should be 4. 24 attempted 2 and 3. So this should be 8. 22 attempted 1 and 3. 22, right? So this should be 6. In every student attempted at least one of the 3 questions. So this is 0. Then how many students attempted only one of the 3 questions? So we have to figure out this. Very simple. 94 minus sum of these 4 regions. So this is 40, 48, 54. 40 कैसे? 20, 28 plus 6. Saturation. So 28 plus 6, 34. So this should be 60. Let me check once more. 20, 30, 34. Fine, 60. How much time are we left with? "15 minutes. Great. In a rectangle ABCD, points E and F trisect this. Points G and H trisect this. AD is 4. AF is 4. Okay. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Then find the area of the quadrilateral PQRS from here. If I have to end up proving something, then that is not worth. I can calculate area of triangle AFT and area of triangle HBC, but then those not trapezium, those two trapeziums only, those 2 ribbons will not make sense. Oh, great. If I'm going to draw a line, this is what will happen. So is Q going to be here? So let's redraw and understand. If we have a square, and if I draw a diagonal, so this is A, this is G. If I draw the other diagonal, which is D and F, why did I take a square? Because this is 4, this is 4. When I do this, and if I take the midpoint, and if I draw a line parallel, it will meet at the midpoint. Similarity? Okay, and it's a square. That means if I draw this, this should also make sense. Okay. That means if I have a 90 here, you have a 45, 45 here, and this is by symmetry, they are equal. So I see an isosceles right angle triangle here, where this side will be half of 4, 2. It should be 90. So what should be the side of this particular square? It's a square actually. So is it square or is it rectangle? Do I have to calculate the other side? So anyways, this is going to be root 2, root 2 का Pythagoras 2. So this is definitely root 2 parallel. Okay, this is 90. This is 90. If I go by the same logic, this is also isosceles triangle, same triangle, right? Same figure. So this should be also root 2. So it's actually a square, not a rectangle. So what is the area of the quadrilateral PQRS, this region? It should be root 2 ka square, 2 centimeter square. Wasn't that difficult? Pehli nazar mein to. Okay, Rakesh went to buy 4 apples and some oranges at a fruit stall. So we have apples, we have oranges, 4 apples, that's given. How many oranges? No idea. So this is number. The price of an orange is half the price of an apple. So apple's price is rupees 2 per apple, and price of an apple orange is rupee 1. So I'm going to ignore this. This is the price that we're talking about. So the clerk interchanged the number of apples and oranges. So it became 4 here and this goes there. So this is the clerk. The problem is this will remain rupees 2, this will remain rupee 1. Bill increased by 20%. Okay, what was the ratio of apples to oranges that Rakesh should buy? Of course, I can write the equation, but let's use the options. Apples to oranges, so the same sequence. 1 is wanted to buy, so initial. 1 is to 7, 4 and 28. If it is 4 and 28, the amount was 8 plus 28, which is 36. Now it should be 20% more. If it's going to be 20% more, it's going to be in points. And I will not get a point here. So 4 and 28 more doesn't make sense. 8 and 11, that means 8, 4 चाहता था, 8 कहाँ से आ गया? 4 and 7. So 8 plus 7, that is 15. 20% more of 15 is 18. Okay, makes sense. What if this is 7 and this is 4 now? 14 plus 4, 18, makes sense. 4 and 7. Log. The base and the values are interchanged, so they are reciprocal of each other. So if this is x, so this becomes 10 by x is equal to 7. Oh, very weird range in A and B. When will I have this? Sorry, converted quadratic? No. 10 ka factor le lete na. 2 and 5. If I put 2 here, the other one will become 5. If I put 5 here, it will become 2. So the x is going to be 2 or 5. Okay. Anyways, it's quadratic. I'll get 2 values. I got 2 values. I don't have to worry ki aur milega ki nahi. I took log b to the base a as 2 or 5. In other words, I took b as a to the power 2 and a to the power 5. Okay, now b has a range, a has a range. Can I take a as 3? Perfect. 3 square and 3 to the power 5. The value of b will be less than 2015 in both. 3 to the power 5 is only 243, right? Okay, let's take now 4. Increase. 4 square is 16, 4 to the power 5, which is 1024. Chalega. If I increase a by 5, 5 square and 5 to the power 5. 5 square is within this range. B, these are the values of B, right? So it's less than 2015. 5 to the power 5 is what? 3125? So this will not make sense. If this will not make sense, तो आगे ये sense बनेगा क्या? 5 to the power 5 cross कर गया तो बाकी तो cross करेंगे. So I have to look into perfect squares now. 6 square, 7 square. So what should be the largest number whose square is less than equal to 2015? Oh, I don't know how to take the square root of 2015, but very much remember 45 into 45 is 4 into 5, 20, 5 into 5, 25, 20, 25. Okay, so it crosses. So if I put 45, it will cross. So it's definitely 44. So I can go up to here. So 1 से लेके 44 लिखा हुआ है. How 1? I'll treat this as 1 square. I'll treat this as 2 square so that I can keep a count 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 44. So there are 44 such solutions. Did I miss something? No. A milkman removed a portion of the content from a vessel having 60% milk solution and replaced it with a milk having 20%. Even though I remove it, I'll have a 60% milk solution. And this is getting mixed with a 20% milk solution. So the answer should be between these two. Ah, it's a 35% concentration. So I'm going to use alligation. This is 25. This is 15. 3 is to 5. So there were 3, 5 added. 5 was added because actually 5 was removed. So initially there was 8 liters or 8 volume, out of which 5 was removed, so that you are left with 3 units. So what portion of the content did you initially take from vessel A? 5 out of 8. 5 by 8 is what? 62.5% of the content, right? He did take, right? Not how much did he add. हाँ सेम थिंग, जितना हटाया होगा उतना ही वापस ऐड करा ना, तो 5/8 है. चलो 8 more minutes. A toy manufacturer accepts an order of supply to supply 2,000 toys at 250 each. 8% of the toys supplied were rejected on inspection and hence scrapped. And he had to replace them. None of the toys manufactured as replacement were rejected. Okay, if the net profit of the manufacturer is 25%, find the cost of manufacturing the whole order. Net profit is 25%. So the multiplying factor is 1.25, which is 5 by 4. 5 by 4, I will write down the total sales in the numerator, total cost in the denominator. So how much money did he get? He got this much money only. But how much did he spend? He must have spent for these many toys some P rupees. And then 8%. 8% means 160. 160 were faulty, so that 160 का भी खर्चा पड़ा ही. Because nobody paid for that 160, right? We have to figure out the cost price. No, cost, total cost. It means we have to figure out this number. 2160p, whatever that is what we need to figure out. 5 by 4 of 2000. Sorry, 4 by 5 now. This 4 and 5 will replace. So I'll have 4 by 5 of 2000 into 250. Because if I calculate P, I'll have to again put it back. Wastage of time. So 5 will take care of what? This 550. 5 and 2 will end in a 0, and you're left with only the number 4. So we have a number that starts with 4 and only zeros. So third makes sense. A taxi driver wants to overtake a bus of length 25 meters. We have a taxi driver. Traveling at 54. What is traveling at 54? If the length of the taxi is 5 meters, then at what speed should the taxi drive? Okay, so this is the speed of the bus. 54 is into 5 by 18. So this is 15 meter per second. So let's convert it into meters. And the taxi length is 5 meters. So this taxi has to reach here. In other words, the taxi has to cover a total of 30 meters and the taxi has to take 20 seconds. means every second the taxi should cover one additional 1.5 meters. So if you heard me carefully, taxi has to cover 1.5 meters extra as compared to the bus every second. So this is an additional speed the taxi should have. Bus already has 15, so the taxi should have plus 1.5. So 16.5. Not interested right now. Percentages. So A, B, and C are playing a game. Fine. A and B together had 100% more money than C. Okay, so I'll have to write A and B together have 2 times of C. B and C together have 300% more money than A. So that is 4 times of A. Okay, so this was initial. By the end, A and B together had 100% more money than C. Okay, so this was beginning, this was end. And A had 12.5% less money than what B and C together had. So 12.5% is 1 by 8. 1 by 8 less, that would mean 7/8 of what B and C together had. Okay, if A gained rupees 800, then who suffered the loss? How about if we can figure out the ratios? That will be much easier, right? So I'll use these two to figure out ratios because I don't see a number here. So let's equate B. So I can say that 2C minus A from the first is same as 4A minus C. 5A is equal to 3C. That means A is 3, C is 5. If A is 3 and C is 5, so 5 into 2, 10, so B should be 7. Okay, let's try the next one. If I rearrange, this is what I'll be writing. What shall I equate now? Any will do. So let's equate A. It's going to be easier. So if I multiply this by 8, so I can say that 2C minus 8B from the first is same as 7 times B plus 7 times C. So bring all the B's on one side. So 15B is equal to, why am I getting negative here? Acha, this was 16C, right? 16 minus 7 will be 9C. Or this is 3 and this is 3 again, 5. So C is 5, B is 3. C is 5, B is 3. What kind of game are they playing? पैसे फाड़ रहे क्या? खा रहे? नहीं. So the same money will be distributed between them, right? So if I have 375, I need to have 375. If this is happening, we can have a different ratio also, right? First one can be multiplied by some next one. Does this make sense? That A has 1/8 less than what B and C have? Yes, it makes complete sense. So A gained rupees 800 finally. Who suffered the loss? So this is not useful. I have to see who. A won. C did not suffer any loss. So C के पास उतने ही पैसे थे. Lucky guy. B suffered a loss. 7 rupees became 3. So B. Arithmetic. So Anil borrowed an amount of 6% per annum simple interest. After 1 year, he repaid. Oh, he gave the money back. And the rate of interest for the remaining amount is calculated at 5% per annum. So this is more like installment, but not an equated one and not CI. If the second year's interest is half of the first year's interest, then what amount of money was lent out? Okay, let's think about this. 6% of some number, which is the first year's interest, is, as in half of first year's interest is 5% of some number. Because in the second year, you will have 5% only, right? These two numbers are not the same, of course. So let's take 100. If I take 100, 6% of 100 is 6, and this is half. So you will have 3 here. So I need a 3 here. So if I need a 3 here, I should be writing 60 here. 5% of 60. It means if I start with this as the principal, I should be left with this much as the money. That means I should give away 40 rupees. Okay, one important thing. What about the interest that I earned in the first year? Is that given away in this? It's simple interest. It will not matter, right? Because the interest is not calculated on whatever I earned. It's only the balance. Fine. So this will make sense. So this is the sample thing. Makes perfect sense. So how many times is this? Into what is 13600? 4 into 312, 34, 340 times. If this is 340 times, this should also be 340 times. So this is 34,000. Will it make sense? 34,000, 6%. And that was the money. Forget about that 6%. That was left out. Balance though 6% se lena dena nahi hai. Okay, great. 34,000. Averages. The average marks of Roy decreased by 1 when he replaced the subject in which he scored 45 marks by the other two subjects, in which he just scores 26 and 27 marks respectively. So let's say there are certain total marks we have, and then there is a subject in which he scored 45, and the number of subjects were n plus 1. This plus 1 was for 45, and this average was 8. When this 45 is removed and this 26 and 27 is added, removed as in minus 45. So this one goes away. Now you'll have two subjects, n plus 2. The average decreased by 1. So you will have a minus 1. Okay, time is up. So that's all. I think I missed a few questions. Not a lot, actually. Unfortunately, I do not, I cannot check. So Ravi, if you are there, if you can tell me or tell me if I should keep the annotations, I'll keep the annotations. So that's all about it. If you guys must be having the solutions and the answer keys, right?
Yeah. So it's absolutely fine even if we get some wrong answers here and there, because it is an attempt. At the end of the day, we are not putting all our might into actually solving it on a piece of paper. Solving it on a piece of paper is very, very different, guys, from what we do on the board or what we do online when we write on a PPT. It is a very, very different ball game altogether, and I think Navin sir will agree to that.
Especially Lrdi, the kind of sets they had, that matrix grid based, you had to redraw it. It was very time consuming, actually.
Right. Right. So I think it was, however, a paper of DI in which there were at least one or two sets which were probably doable, which should have been picked. Either, I guess, the fourth one, the arrangement.
Yes, that was pretty easy. I got stuck, but I was confident looking at the options that it was an easy one, so I did not want to let go. Normally, I tell people that you should not give it another second or third try if you're not able to get it in the first two attempts. So right. I did what I went against what I actually preach here.
Yeah. So basically, it is, if you look at guys, all of you who are here, who has watched through the entire 2 hours effort, if you look at what happened in VARC, I think both Navin sir and I will both agree that Navin sir probably did not solve as many as he would have done in a 40-minute paper. He could do a little lesser because in the verbal part, he kind of went into explaining that explanation mode. You generally don't tend to come out of that very quickly. But if you actually looked at what he did in DILR and quant, you would realize that he did not go deeply into explaining what the question is. Instead, okay, is there any jugaad possible in any of the questions? Is what I have been able to take away from the quant perspective, and especially from the quant areas attempt that I could see. I think the most important learning is that if you don't know a question, if you feel that a question is something that you see, a person like Navin sir, who has been into this for the last 40 to 50 15 odd years, he would probably have seen all types of questions. However, there were still questions that he moved on. He said, what, I am not interested right now in this particular question because the timer is clicking. It's only 8 minutes left. I would probably not want to do a very elaborate question. Rather, I would spend my time in a question that I will probably get the answer very, very quickly. And I think even at that pace, while explaining it to you, I think he attempted some 18, 19 questions in quant. How
No
many?
idea. I did not keep a track of that. No
I think
idea.
barring the last 2, 3 odd questions, I think almost you reached out to almost all the questions in quants, and I think that is a very, very genuine attempt. Yeah. So basically, the idea, guys, is not to uh, give a video solution. This is not a video solution. This is an attempt of how what is it that goes through our mind when we are actually going to take the paper, and especially even on the 28th of November, when I'll be sitting to take CAT, or Navin sir will be sitting to take CAT, we will probably go ahead and do the same thing that Navin sir has done today. So that's about how to manage that 40 minutes time is what we exactly wanted to focus upon, and I think that is that was perfectly visible and clear through the attempt. Score,
There
we
was
don't know what the score is because we did not attempt it on aspiration. We attempted it on Navin sir attempted on this. But I think quant, I guess every question he attempted was correct as far as I checked. DILR, I did not check personally. I think verbal ability also, his accuracy was fine, fair enough. It's only that he could not do a lot of questions in reading comprehension, which is given. It happens sometimes.
So what I did in quant was in couple of questions I knew the shortcuts. If I remember correctly, that those two people A and B 9 and 16 hours, I could have used that the geometric mean concept.
Yeah,
But I assume myself to an average student where I do not know the formulas.
absolutely.
In LRDI, that was actually compensated by the mistakes that I did in the easiest set, where I had to go through it again and again and again. So quant was actually easy. Okay. LRDI was better. I mean, you cannot say that I was not able to do two sets. Two sets were definitely doable. Verbal, because of course I was slow. And that's exactly what happens during a proper CAT exam with me as well. Of course, I'm not a verbal faculty as a whole. So when I'm reading a question, those are the thoughts that come across me. Okay, this particular phrase is given, this word is not given. Okay, this is the exact thing this is given. This is completely out of the blue that the word or the phrase is used. So I kind of talk to myself like that. So that's how my verbal paper generally is, but I'm generally fast. I lost around 4 minutes. I may have actually attempted another set which had, I believe, 3 questions. Were there 2 sets with 3 questions and 2 sets with 5, I believe, right?
Yeah, there were 2 sets with 5, 2 with 3 in the
So
passage.
I could have, attempted maybe 1 or 2 from the other RC where we had 3 questions, because
Right.
that was actually easier, I thought, because the first one which I started off with, I thought it was a fact based, which it was not. So it
Oh,
backfired.
one major basic element that I figured out in the first 20 odd minutes, you only did those 8 questions of VA, and also there was a little disturbance in terms of your PPT being stuck and stuff like that. I think those 20 minutes in a normal paper for those 8 questions of VA, nowhere in the world would anyone take 20 minutes, is what my guess is. It's only
Yes,
that
definitely.
you probably went ahead and tried to explain why is it that you're choosing this particular option, why is it that you are eliminating this kind of thing. I think I felt personally that you went into a lot of detail in the first 8 questions, but uh, otherwise I am very very happy the way you attempted DILR and quant, especially in the paper.
Thank you.
Right, guys.
So,
There's one thing that you need to, however, understand, all of you, that boss, if we can talk you through our thought process and attempt 16 questions in a paper, if we can talk you through our thought process and attempt 12 questions in a paper, imagine if we were sitting in solitude only solving the paper. We would probably, Navin sir would have probably gone ahead and solved 16, 17 questions in that DILR. Who knows? Right? So that's how it works.
I maybe I would have done that one set that I did not even read. It had to do something with coins, I believe.
Coins.
I did not even read that set. There was some
Yeah.
question on coins or something like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely may have tried that because the last set that I tried, I was only able to attempt one. I'm not even sure whether that was correct. Those cars and those regions where they are parked. So
Right.
overall, this paper was, I cannot comment on VARC much, but LRDI and Quant, they both were kind of easy to a level less than moderate. It was not difficult at all.
Right. So, any closing remarks that you would want to give, sir? Now that only 13 days, 12 days more to go to CAT. Given that, I would suggest the students to Netflix and chill for the last 3 days at least.
At
Before
least
that, in the next 10
I
days to
generally
go.
do 2 days. I generally do that 2 days before the actual any exam actually,
Yeah.
because it may feel like that you are going to forget everything, but that's not ever never going to happen. You're going to be actually more fresh and you will remember more things. Last moment mug up is not going to work in competitive exams for sure. Never.
Absolutely. So, if there are some areas or some techniques that one would probably want to pick in the last 10 days, would you suggest any to pick, or would you suggest the students to only focus on whatever their strengths are till now?
If they want to pick, they should not pick entirely based on a section, because if it backfires right now, scores dip, that will be a problem. They can pick up cues or shortcuts within a topic in a section. For example, if somebody has not been comfortable with algebra, they can do the algebra, but should not change the entire strategy overall for the entire section. That should not be done.
Right. So, where do we revise questions from? Is one question that keeps coming up all the time. Where do
So
we revise?
there are unlimited sources where one can get the questions. The most important part being, are those questions worth revising or even doing them? Because there are a lot of questions online which you will feel is they're very difficult, especially LRDIs. Okay, so CAT doesn't give you such very difficult sets or such very difficult quant questions, very calculation based questions. So there is very limited sources where you will get the accurate level of difficulty questions in each of the three sections, if I talk about. So students who are our own students, they have got their funder book, which they tell me all the time, sir, it's very easy. If it's very easy, it's very good for you. Because there are people who have passed out of FMS, who have been my students, they all they did was the funder book and the mocks. They never went ahead with any of the books or any of the sources available online or anywhere. So if people can do that and get into FMS or any IM, I think that's good enough. Doing mocks is extremely important.
So, doing the mocks on time and probably going through the last 4 5 years papers to get the relevance of what kind of questions they should actually pick from Funda books is also probably important.
Very, very important. Working a lot on the LRDI way back when it was in 1998 or 2000 or 2001 CAT paper, the type of LRDI questions have changed a lot.
Yeah.
So doing that will give you an idea. Okay, CAT has got that mentality where you will be able to figure out the way to do it. But don't expect similar questions, because some questions are very, very easy, some are very difficult. Now CAT gives you kind of moderate sets.
Yeah. How many mocks in the last 2 weeks? I would say three. Three, two. उससे ज्यादा तो मत ही करो यार. Because the
Right.
mock is a learning process. If you're writing a mock and you're not spending 2 days on that mock to analyze and resolve every question and see where did you goof up, then probably it's not even worth giving mocks in that sense.
So two categories of students, I would say. One who has not written enough mocks, one who has given enough mocks. So the person who has not written enough mocks should not be writing a lot of mocks because they have to still build the strategy. They're still not up to their best. People have given even mocks, they need to come up with fluency, that exam temperament, and also a question bank. So the more mocks they do, they will have an idea. They'll have more questions or more varieties of questions to practice on. So just don't look at your scores and percentiles, especially in the last 3-4 days. Don't do that. It will keep on fluctuating. You study for 2 years, still it's never enough for any competitive exam.
It's only that what you do in the final game. You may be Mitchell Marsh, who knows.
True. True. Okay.
All
So what
right, so
about live analysis on 28th?
yeah, so we on the 28th of November for all the 3 slots of CAT, we will be doing live analysis after the first slot, second slot, and the third slot. And the details will all be shared also on our YouTube channel, and the entire details will be shared on our website as well as the Telegram groups that we have. Right, please stay tuned. On that particular day, we will also come up with a score calculator wherein you can give your attempts and your accuracy percentage that you are expecting, and will throw a predicted percentile. And for the last 3-4 years that we have been predicting percentiles using an AI algorithm, we have probably at the higher end, at the 95 plus end, a percentile plus end, uh, we have judged the percentiles or predicted the percentile with a 0.1% error rate, so which is very very decent in that sense. So I think we will keep doing more of these kind of sessions also, and don't miss out on catching with us on the 28th of November, the D-Day, irrespective of you're taking CAT this year or not. Who knows, if you're taking CAT next year, the analysis may be very very helpful, because if you are aiming at CAT 2022, you should know what CAT 2021 was, and that should be a first step. And people who are asking what about 8:30 a.m. slot, they go 8:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. Nothing matters. See, a guy who goes to the 8:30 a.m. paper gets to know what the structure of the paper is at 8:25. A guy who is going for the 12:30 p.m. paper will get to know the structure of the paper at 10:35. क्या उखाड़ लेगा 2 घंटे में? कुछ नहीं होने वाला. Nothing is going to
Actually,
change.
it creates more
Absolutely
tension. You
nothing
are
is going to
under more
change for the
pressure.
first slot, second slot, or third slot. It's only that at the back of your mind, you will keep saying that Bhagwan ye kya kar diya, mere saath first slot de diya, de diya. You carry that weight and you're doomed already. Don't carry that weight, please. Leave the luggage outside and go into the classroom, go into the paper as if, because if you have done all the 12 CDCs or the 13 mocks that we have done in the last 13 weeks, you would see that, boss, we have given you all types of different possibilities that are there. So if you have actually gone through all the mocks, the actual paper pattern is not going to matter much. एक दो क्वेश्चन इधर उधर कम ज्यादा 19-20 होगा, so don't worry about it. What you can do in 40 minutes, if you can attempt 3 RCs and 6 questions of VA in 40 minutes, you will be able to do that only, irrespective of 40 questions being there or 100 questions being there in VARC. Please make sure that you play to your strengths. You play to the half volley. You don't play for the bouncer if you're not Rohit Sharma. That is exactly what the message is.
Even though the questions are not going to get repeated, so it's useless to even discuss the questions with anyone from the previous slot.
Absolutely. I think there was in 2020, in 2019, slot 1 and slot 2, there were one question in slot 1 which is absolutely similar to slot 2. It's only that maximum of function de diya tha in slot 1. In slot 2, minimum of function de diya tha. Everything else, the graph and things were the same. But the concepts may be same. The questions will typically definitely vary. So don't worry about your slot at all. There's nothing you can do about your slot. Right now, the best you can do about your slot is, if you are an 8:30 a.m. guy, start waking up at 5 o'clock every day, starting tomorrow at least, and start taking tests, whatever tests, 2-3 mocks you are planning to sorry for that, please take it at 8:30 a.m. without any default, without any faltering. And if possible, go out and come home and start the paper at 8:30, because you will travel to the center. Make a habit of doing that.
And the issue with it, the technical glitch that happened with me during the verbal section, that's very common. It will happen. It can happen to anyone over there who is writing the paper.
Yeah.
Your keyboard will, your mouse will get stuck. Your system will switch off automatically. It may hang. So you have to be completely prepared. You can't panic, because if you panic, even though that paper is going to be easy, you will end up not solving enough number of questions. So don't panic. क्या होगा 5 minutes gone, maybe 1 or 2 questions I won't be able to do, but I'm not going to let it affect the remaining questions or the remaining sections I'm going to try. Very important.
So one last minute tip I will give you. If you are a guy who is wearing earphones to the center, chingam chaba ke ja raha hai, so 70% of the people around you will already be tensed, and you will be better than 70% of the people going to the hall.
The
They may be better
percentile will
than
be
you.
more than 70.
They may be better than you, but you play on their psychology. Okay, you go as if you are a chill, as if you are the guy, and then you will crack the paper. Don't worry. Believe in yourself.
Yes. Okay.
That's it, Shreya. I think we can end this. Yeah, score of 70 is fine. Score of 70 is fine for an 80 percentile in this paper.
So actually, it was pretty easy. Not pretty easy, I will say, but it was kind of okay. It was possible to solve the score around 100 in this paper, because I screwed up VRC. Otherwise, I think 30, 35-ish in each section was very much possible to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're looking at 100 total score, break it into a 30, 30, 40 or 30, 35, 35. Whatever are your two areas of strengths, you want to put more focus on that particular area, right? So break it to 10 questions, 12 questions, 12 questions per 3 sections. So at the end of the day, you're talking about 40 questions in the paper of 70 questions. Yeah, come on. You're talking about solving 55% of the questions in the paper. Kari loge yaar. Okay. Don't worry. Don't undermine yourself. So yeah, I think we can close this. Thank you
Okay.
all. Thank you, Navin sir.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, everyone. Hope it will benefit you guys.